Trump's tariffs, a bold move to boost jobs, or a freight market disaster waiting to happen? You tell me in the comments. Most of what we know on tariffs is handed us by the media. What could they know? And how could it affect you? That's what we're talking about tonight. We're also going to reveal some business strategy discussions tonight. This Trump tariffs, Lord, they're going to have a hell of an effect on your life, ain't it? Leaving you with some, we're going to also leave you with some insight. Time for you to hush. I usually do that, but more technical difficulties tonight. What else is new? Live TV, folks. Anyway, we're leaving you guys with some insights on how to navigate this and more coming up in the final episode of 2024. Yes, you heard it right. The final episode. Next week's show on the 28th will be preempted because of the holidays and other reasons, which I will get into as we move on through this show I passionately call Frontlines.
Shall we begin?
From Truckin City Central Command, you are on the front lines. Truckin News.
The semi-truck driver accused of causing that deadly crash on Highway 285 this week now under arrest.
Cutting edge opinion. And we will make trucking great again. Built for truckers.
You should be hauling that freight based on what works for you.
By truckers.
Remember, get them done.
Featuring.
I think trucking is a very good career.
And I am gonna beat them.
I'm gonna beat him too.
We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Remember, truckers are people too.
Hosted by the El Rushbo of Truckin News, Boss Man. That's right, our studio lines, 860-785-3547. Broadcasting from inside the Truckin City mobile studio, i.e. Central Command. Having more fun than any single human being on YouTube is allowed to have. Boss Man here, 13-year veteran of the trucking industry, pointing out and giving you insights on ways to make trucking great again. Now, normally I reserve this space for headlines and other business, but I'm switching up tonight. It's my right. It's my show. I'm going to start off by saying our studio lines will be open momentarily. You can call us at 860-785-3547. I would like you guys to continue sending me ideas for future stories, discussions, or anything you think will help make trucking great again. Send it to That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. We are easy to find. Just look at in your URL box, truckincitymedia.com. Become subscribed today. We are the fastest movement growing on YouTube today. Why? Because of 401 people like you out there that have recognized other media outlets just don't cut it. They don't do it. Tonight, I want to cover something a little bit different. Yes, we're talking Trump tariffs, and we're talking about the effects. But before I do that, I want to first have a discussion about a little bit of gratitude. I want to acknowledge and thank all 401 of you that are watching, subscribed, and actively participating in my channel. You guys are considered the OG. You guys are considered what has started this channel. And you guys are the reason I continue doing this. A short time ago, I was discouraged and didn't want to continue doing this. But I was reminded with some really happened in growth recently and some good advice from some very great friends, and you know who you are watching. That all is put before us for a reason. God works in mysterious ways. So I want to acknowledge each and every one of you watching, and I want to make a commitment to you that 2024 has been a tough year. We've gotten through it, though. But I now have 401 reasons to keep her rolling. I want every one of you to know that I've decided to put my faith and trust in you. It's the very name of my channel, Truckin City. I would like you to actively tell me what it is you want to see. Let me know by email, put it in the chat, call up our studio line anytime we're live, and let me know. If you like it, if you don't, what you want, what you don't want. I'm dedicating myself to improving this channel and monetizing it as quickly as possible. With the current pace and current track, I'm well on the way to doing it. So I'm taking next week, the 28th, and I'm diving into some planning and some research, and I'm going to provide you guys with an even more insightful and energetic show. You're going to notice some changes, but they're not ones you won't like. They are ones you'll love. They are ones that Truckin City and the trucking industry needs. I want to inform, I want to educate, I want to entertain, and I want to make trucking great again. I'm serious as I'm serious as a heart attack about this, folks. Because I look at everything and I always think of the positive. For far too long, there's too much negative in this platform. I just cannot sit idly by watching channel after channel after channel be all negative, be all down, and critical over everybody else's stuff, thoughts, content, you name it. I'm going to put out positive, motivating, inspiring content, and I'm going to call out those that don't. We have way too many reasons to be positive. We have way too many reasons to move ahead and make 2025 the best year trucking has ever seen. I know we can do it. I know you can do it. So if you have a trucking channel and you'd like to be part of this mission, send me an email at thatstruckingnews@outlook.com. Get in touch with me. I would like to help you realize your true potential. If you have a story you think you'd like deserve discussion on this show, let me know that way too. I've said it before, I'm a full-time trucker. I'd like to dedicate full-time energy to this channel, but cannot because I have a job to do. That job is taking me in some really interesting and new directions. So again, in 2025, I'm going to enlighten you, the viewers, on A, the direction, B, the benefit, and C, everything I've learned by all these recent changes. I look forward to that. Let me know in the comments if there's something specific you want to know about, because there are a lot of specific details you will not see. But anything that helps make trucking great again, it'll be on this channel. So, want to look first of all at the comments and see if there's some of our regular followers with us. Currently nothing new. So let's get to the headline story today. Talking about Trump's tariffs and how they'll affect trucking. Greetings, truck lovers and truth seekers. We are back behind the golden TIB microphone once again, welcoming you to your chance to donate to the cause. Call in our studio line, 860-785-3547. Let us know you're there. Let us know what you think of trucking in America. Let's talk about tariffs for a minute. The tool that sparks debates, and there are a lot of them out there. It ignites markets. And let's face it, it raises eyebrows in almost every corner of the freight industry. President Donald Trump is once again reaching for the tariff hammer, threatening to shake up global trade and, by extension, our livelihoods. Now, some argue that tariffs can balance world markets and bring back jobs to America. Others believe these levies are a wrecking ball, swinging dangerously close to a freight market that's just beginning to claw its way out of the trenches. Where do truckers stand in all this? Comment, tell me. I want to hear your side. Well, let me tell you what I know. We stand cautiously on the side of protecting our industry from unnecessary turbulence. Take a look at some recent numbers from FreightWaves. Craig Fuller. He said the spot market rates are currently trending upwards, currently around $253 a mile, and at a high that, according to him, hasn't been seen for over a year, almost a year and a half. But here's the kicker: volumes are down. Why? Attrition has burned off excess capacity, giving carriers leverage. Yet, just as the trucking industry begins to regain its footing, imposing tariffs could drive up costs, hurt consumer spending, and throw a wrench into this already fragile machine. Well, let's not ignore history. Trump wielded tariffs before. Remember the trade wars with China? And while there were challenges, freight markets didn't collapse into chaos. In fact, his strategy to use tariffs as leverage, whether to curb fentanyl imports or secure the borders, highlighted this belief in putting America first. But the question is, can the freight markets, already slowed by tighter monetary policy and cautious consumer spending, as noted in a report, which, by the way, the links to all three of the reports I'm using for reference will be in the description. Everything highlighted can withstand another round of economic headwinds. The ATA says we hit bottom earlier this year, and they're optimistic about climbing out. That's great, but optimism doesn't pay the bills, especially when tariffs drive up costs for carriers. Tariffs are, after all, a tax on the very goods that keep this country's wheels turning. Think about paying an extra tax every time you turn that key on. Buy a gallon of fuel. Buy that pack of cigarettes. Suddenly, tariffs don't look so good, do they? We must recognize that our industry is still navigating regulatory hurdles, rising insurance rates. Who remembers a video I put out a couple weeks ago? And a push for tort reform? Adding a tariff-shaped storm cloud to this already complex forecast might stall the progress we're already starting to see. So here's the bottom line, folks. Tariffs, if used judiciously, can be a powerful tool. The truckers don't need power plays. We need stability. We need to figure things out for what they are, not for what they could be. Let's urge caution and demand that tariffs serve the long-term interests of the American worker, not as a blunt instrument to threaten everybody and every person to do your bidding, but use it as a precise tool that enhances our competitiveness without wrecking our recovery. Trump, if you ever see this, be careful, my man. I know you mean business. But yeah, Trump's past tariff moves didn't break the industry, but the stakes are higher now. Second time in, freight volumes, economic growth, consumer spending are all on a delicate balance. Let's make sure any action taken strengthens rather than undermines this already fragile industry and keep America and us rolling. Let's hear what you guys think. That's my opinion. I think I'm dead on. I think I've made a good case. I'd like to hear, what do you think? Put something in the comment. Give us a call. Our studio line, 860-785-3547. Let's talk tariffs, my friends. What's your thoughts on tariffs? Do you think the second time around will net a better result, or do you think it's water over the dam?
No, it didn't turn out very good the last time it happened because just about everything we get anymore comes from overseas from other countries. And when he threw that tariff up, not only did it start hitting us consumers with the pocketbook because everybody started having to raise it in order to get the products, it always trickles down, and it trickles down to us drivers as well. Because if us drivers are having to haul this freight, obviously they're going to make it where we have to charge more to haul it. So it's not going to help in any way. I just don't see it. I mean, it's not making sense. It really
Yeah.
isn't.
No. And just a moment, we have backstage guest I'm going to bring up, but he clearly makes a good point. Most folks don't even know who exactly pays for the tariffs. See, most people think the tariffs are just that. They're just something other companies or other countries pay for. But what most people watching this show don't realize is it trickles down to a tax on us. Okay. For example, if we buy a Toyota, let's say hypothetically, that Toyota, well, not hypothetically, let's say realistically, that Toyota is a foreign car. And hypothetically speaking, let's say Trump says, I'm going to put a 50% tariff on that Toyota because you don't make them in the US. Now, I'm just spitballing a number, but you just raised the cost of that product by 50% because Toyota is not going to sell that $20,000 car for 20,000. Now they're going to sell it for 30 or 40 because they've got to eat the cost and then turn that cost back over to us, the consumer. So that's how that works. And a lot of people don't realize. They think it's a way of just dissuading people from doing a certain thing, which if you listen to the media, that's exactly the way they make it sound. The media makes everything sound like, oh, a tariff. Now we can get, NATO to pay their bills, or a tariff. Oh, maybe we can get Mexico to watch, where they send all their people or whatever, historical stories I'm mentioning here. But that's not it. Anytime a tariff is put on something, your cost for that item just went from this to, well, wait a minute. I got a roof on this truck, so I can only go just so high. But you get the point, You you really need, as a consumer of my content, you really should do your bid and look at what tariffs are, because they are going to be an economic killer. I do believe. Um, so let's talk on another example of what tariffs do to you guys up north. You guys up north were just recently hit with a levy of some kind or a threat, if you want to call it that, for just precisely what we're talking about. Do you want to clarify, Poet, what you know about that?
Threat. It's not going to come into place until Trump actually takes office.
Well, most of what we're talking about fits that category, but continue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a threat of a 25% tariff, which essentially means as soon as that particular product hits the border and crosses the border, the U.S. government is owed 25% of whatever the value of that shipment. In the end, it's the final consumer that pays the price.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people don't
So,
know that.
yeah. And what was the reaction of those in your area or people you talk to up there when they learned of this?
Well, the government says, well, we're going to initiate a retaliatory tariff. Uh, Canada and the USA are the two biggest trading partners in North America.
Mhm.
Do you really think that a tariff on our oil shipped down to the U.S. is going to hurt the U.S.? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
But
I don't think so at all.
but in the end, you know what I'm saying.
Hmm. Yep.
That's
In the end,
about
I mean, it all. Yeah. In the end, it all comes down to. I think personally, I think it's just a cat and mouse game.
hmm
Trump, I think, is talking big because he wants to make a big show of things and gain favor and respect from people that he
I,
feels he's lost.
no, it's more of the game of he's wanting businesses to start making stuff here in the U.S. just as they used to, and using our tax dollars and keeping them here in the U.S. instead of sending it overseas. I'm telling you, trust me, that's what it's all about. I guarantee
Do
you.
me a
Okay.
favor. Do me a favor, Frank. I want you to opine for just a few moments on that story you and I discussed on the phone earlier this week that has to deal with your state and the
Ah,
use of government funds. This
I
falls
wish we could
right
play that footage
in.
because that would be wonderful.
It would be wonderful, but tell the audience what you know about that, just to enlighten them about what you just talked about.
Well, pretty much what I can say about it is there's a company that decided that they'd jump on the bandwagon with this electric vehicle stuff. Well, the company is actually it's public, so I'm going to say it. The company is called Canoe. Canoe decided they wanted to bring up some manufacturing here in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's like, "Hey, great, sounds good. We can help you out. We can give you some extra, tax breaks and give you some extra funds and get you all on your feet and get you started." Well, according to what it said, they've given close to, I believe it is like over $300,000 to this company, and they didn't even produce one electric vehicle here. The ones that they
Wow.
used was produced in Texas by another company and sent up here, and one was actually bought by our state and has our state logo all over it. So
Right.
our taxpayers' dollars are going just in the toilet up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and think about it, it's probably happening all over the country too. I mean, that's probably just a sheer example of the stupidity. Hopefully, Trump can use the Department of Government Efficiency that he's just formed, hopefully, and get rid of some of that stuff.
That would definitely be nice.
That would be a nice benefit, but hard to know if that will actually happen. But only time will tell on that one. Um, but in terms of imports, let's talk about imports for just a minute. Do you guys think the tariffs on import goods help or hurt the trucking industry? Don't focus so much on retail, but focus on us because you know what? At the end of the day, I personally am of the mindset that tariffs won't do any good. I think they will hurt everybody all the way around. But I
hmm
I
think
do.
personally,
Yep.
trucking will be the first industry affected. So what say you, Grumpy?
Well, I know for a fact, just like I said when we first started here and you first started me talking, it's not going to help us. It's actually going to cause the trucking industry to raise their rates as well because it's going to cost them more to pick it up and haul it because the place that's in it's going to charge more. So it's a no-win situation either way you look at it. I see
hmm
Trump's idea, and I don't condone one bit, and I like it, but I don't like it. I want all of us Americans to start focusing on coming back here, making things that can be possibly made here, and do it that way. But what do I know? I'm just a little old pawn on a chess set.
hmm
Well, you call yourself that. Fernando Navarro, welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you for dropping a comment. And he says, can't wait till the people who voted for this feel the consequences. I mean, there's two sides to every argument, okay?
Hmm.
And Fernando, I totally agree. Everybody that places a ballot in the box, A, they have the right. B, they have the choice. But C, they have exactly what you're talking about down there, my friend. They have to deal with the consequences.
Hmm.
We just lived 4 years worth of that.
Hmm.
We just lived 4 years worth of consequences that only 74 million Americans asked for, or 68, depending on what network you ask. Point being, they wanted certain things, they got it. Now we've got another 4-year period ahead of us that I really didn't pay attention to this year's ballot numbers. So a sector of the American voter bloc asked for it. So you're right, Fernando. There are people that are going to feel it, but then there are other people that will
And
not. So
and
there's
keep in
both sides
mind,
to that.
it takes up to 2 years for whoever becomes our president to start getting things straightened out. So the
Mhm.
2 years, the first 2 years of their term, is straightening things out, trying to get it lined up to where it works. So if
Yep.
the other president left a mess, the president coming in's got to fix all that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because once they get it set up, it starts all over again. So
Exactly. There's always going to be a mess, and there's always going to be people that need to clean it up.
Mhm.
So when it comes to freight availability and rates, what do you think a tariff like what's been discussed what kind of an effect do you think it would have? Let's ask that of our new guest, Larry. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
That was a little close.
Yeah, right? We wanted to see that pimple anyway. So I mean, what do you think what do you think about freight volumes and rates? What do you think is going to happen as a result of tariffs if they go through?
I don't know.
Mm. Well, let me tell you what I think will happen. And you tell me if you agree with me. If the multitude of tariffs that Trump is threatening to levy against nations, companies, you name it, goes through, freight volumes will drop significantly. Because as it stands right now, we have a glut of volume currently going on right now. There are a number of places throughout the world that have foreseen and understood this to be a problem. And for like the last 4 to 6 months, since the election anyway, they've been cranking up the volume because they know it's coming and they're prepping. They're rising inventories, they're getting ahead of it, and they don't want to be flat footed with nothing when they suddenly kick in. So, knowing that, knowing what I've just explained to you, do you agree? Do you think that's what's a good possibility? Or if you disagree with me, tell me in the comments, call me on the studio line, or tell me to my face. I'm
Well, since
destined
I
to argue with
do
people.
cattle now, I don't know how that affects the cattle division. So
Oh, it'll affect all of you because you've got to feed those cattle. You're muted.
considering
You're muted, Grump.
usually kill plant or feedlot, so we
Well, yeah,
don't.
you've got to feed them, and then you got to process them, and then whether you realize it or not, you've got to move them by truck from one place to the other. Whether they're alive or not. So tariffs are going to have an effect one way or the other.
yeah. Not to
You know?
mention a lot of our meat products are exported from this country. So if they put a tariff on us, then that's going to damage us as well because there's already talk about that. So
Yep.
Well, yeah, retaliatory tariffs. But what's going to happen is instead of dealing with the tariff side, what they'll do is they'll adjust their buying habits. If we put tariffs on them that they feel are unright, what they'll do is they'll reduce orders. We'll see a decrease in volume of outbound exports.
Or inbound.
Because no, imports won't change much. They'll probably go down, but not drastically. But what you'll notice drastically reduced will be the exports. Because they're going to be like, well, if we have to pay, why should we do business with you?
If Canada puts in a retaliatory tariff, your U.S. consumer demand is going to go down the same as the Canadian consumer demand. Hence,
Best way to
less
explain it.
loads.
Best way to explain it. You're used to paying $200 for your light bill.
Mhm.
Let's say an unexplained charge comes at you, and now you're told you have to pay $600 for that light bill every month.
Okay.
What do? You use
Well,
less electric. You buy more efficient stuff. You use less electric, and you tell them to kiss off.
right.
You're like, I don't want to deal with that. So don't you think countries like your own poet will do that very same thing? They're going to consume less American product,
Yep.
buy less American product,
Right.
and they're going to make alternative arrangements.
And
Same is true all over the world.
And if Canada imposes the retaliatory tariff, there's less USA demand for our stuff. Hence, less product moving across the border.
Yep.
Well, quickly, I'm going to say, if my electric bill goes up $400 compared to what it usually is, I'm getting on a bicycle. I'm hooking some kind of a generator to it, and I'll start making my own electricity.
Yep.
Hey, Grumpy, you've got a disadvantage over us. You have got a serious disadvantage over us. You know why?
Why?
You've got them damn acorns. You feed them acorns to them squirrels, and you got hyperspeed.
Mhm.
Maybe.
No, maybe about it. I've got the article links in the description of this live. Trump tariffs could intensify U.S. industry, experts say. An AOL article. Good read. If you want some insights on tariffs, that's the place to go. Another one is titled From Freight Waves, Truck Industry Readying for 2025. It's an article that goes ahead to talk about things they think would happen in terms of regulations and the trucking industry should tariffs be the problem, and a discussion. And a FreightWaves article also titled Tariffs Spook Shippers and Consumers as Trucking Surges talks about current volumes and makes some bold predictions about what is on the horizon should Trump do the unthinkable. Good reads if you guys want to know about it. I have scanned it and made my opinion based on those 3 articles. So give it a read, put in the comments after the replay or in the chat now if you and all disagree with my opinion as delivered earlier. As truck owners or business owners, how does one prepare for what may lie ahead of us? If he puts these tariffs in, all right, should they pass? What do you have in the works and planned if that does happen? Think about that, folks. Have you thought that far ahead, Grumpy?
No, I was just going to say I was looking for the crank to crank up, the Jack in the Box there, because he's like.
Fix your camera there, boy.
You look like a midget.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Anyway, we like picking anyway. So I mean, what do you have in mind or thoughts planned? What are your plans should that happen?
Again, what can I do about it? I mean, I'm just a pawn in the chess set here, and everybody else that's down here, yourself, Poet. I mean, he's up north, but he's still like a pawn on a chess set up there too. And I mean, Larry, the only thing we can do is vote. Which, if it was our option to vote for it or against it, hey, something might come of it. But if the president signs it in without a vote, there's nothing we can do about it.
If everybody thought like that, don't take what I'm about to say wrong, Grumpy. If everybody thought like that, we'd already be paying millions of dollars for a gallon of gas. We'd already be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for an acre of land. All is not lost. When I asked a question about what have you got planned, you have to think proactively. I mean, take, for example, what I'm doing, okay? A short time ago, I was a company driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just taking it as it comes. If it was given me, I took it. If I was able to earn it, I made it. Now I'm in a position where I thought, well, I want to be in control of my destiny. If something comes my way, I want the ability to make the necessary changes to protect myself. Okay, so without giving any details away, I've now put myself in that position. Okay, I make better decisions because of what I've done. I make more informed decisions because of this channel and panelists and audience members watching it. So, and lastly, I make decisions on my own. I don't leave it up to someone else, you know? So, if I were asked that question, okay, I would answer by saying, number one, I would not stay silent. Okay, because silence is the death of an industry. Without question. The more silent you remain, the more accepting of a circumstance you become, the more that circumstance becomes you. So first thing is don't stay silent. Second thing is get informed, get educated, be aware. And when you find something that's not right, spread the word. Back to point one, silence will be your undoing. Lastly, be proactive. Think about yourself and your family before they think of it themselves. You have to be the person thinking ahead of what is coming. We don't know how tariffs are going to affect us. We can assume we have precedent, we have historic precedent to base some models on, but we really truly do not know the full extent of what can happen to company drivers, lease owner operators, cattle haulers, flatbedders, car haulers, fuel tankers, reefer trailers. All of these guys will be profoundly affected if these tariffs become mainstream.
Yes, they will.
Now we could see a replay. Now by that I mean 2016 when he first got into office in 2016. He first threw it out there all about tariffs. What happened? A lot of them never got enacted. The simple fact that he threatened it meant people were listening, and that's what he wanted. Now, this time around, a lot of professionals think that that's not part of the strategy. A lot of people think that his saying it means he's willing to do it, which probably could happen. But that by itself has spurred fluctuations in market caps, rates, stock markets, inventories, plans. Everything's changed just simply because he uttered the word. So that's why I asked a question. What's your answer, Poet? What's your answer to that?
That's a tough one. Okay. I'm a company driver, almost retired.
Yep.
I'm at the end of my career. So I could say I don't much care, but I do. This is going to affect everybody. I don't care what country in North America you live in, whether Canada, the US, or Mexico.
Right.
Okay. In the end, these tariffs, yeah, they're gonna impact the trucking industry in a bad way. Like I said before,
Right.
the amount of freight going across Canada to the US, US to Canada, Mexico to the US, and vice versa.
Yep.
It's gonna drop.
Yep.
And who pays in the end? You and me.
Exactly. Exactly. Happens every single time.
Yep.
We have an experienced panel here, guys, experienced audience welcoming you into the fold. We are giving back through meaningful debate. That is the name of our show today. We're talking about tariffs, their effect on trucking, and what possibly might come of the future of this industry. One of the things that I pulled out one of these articles um, talks mainly about the benefits of jobs. One of the reasons that tariffs are put into place is because they want more stuff made here in the States. They don't want stuff outsourced to China. They don't want stuff made in Taiwan. They don't want stuff. I mean, I pick on these countries, but this is the theory behind it, okay? They don't want stuff made elsewhere and then sold here. Now, I get that. What does the end result of such a policy get? Forgetting in tariffs for just a minute, the end result is we get more people making stuff here, we get more jobs. But now bring tariffs back into it, I think, and I am of the mindset that there is a right way to go about it, and then there's the wrong way. The right way is to just get your shit together and make stuff here. The wrong way is through these three articles. I'd like to bring on another guest, which I think has a probably just as meaningful opinion as myself. Say hello to Fake Truckin. He's in the house. The Reefer Guy. God bless you. Boom. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. How are you today?
Great, great. Talking about tariffs. We've had, on a personal level, discussions like this before, but I referenced these three articles and trying to get a feel from the panel and the audience what kind of an effect would become of the trucking industry should Trump get his way.
Oh.
So I asked earlier, what's your opinion?
So I've made this pretty clear, right? Like I'm a pretty staunch libertarian. I tend to vote more liberal than I do real conservative. That doesn't mean that I don't have conservative ideas, because I most certainly do, especially being an owner operator. But understanding tariffs are in place right now, right? Like tariffs have been a way that the government collects money on taxing us. You got to be very clear about that. Tariffs aren't hurting these, like it hurts these other countries if the tariff is strong enough that we don't purchase the product. But let's be honest here, even with the taxes added onto things, as the consumer, they're still cheaper than if they were American made. That's the problem. We sold
Just like
that.
the analogy I brought up about the electric bill. If you see a sudden increase in something you purchase, you're going to use less of it. And that's the way
Absolutely.
countries think about it. Yeah, that's exactly what most companies and countries do.
But understand the tariffs that are in place, like currently, and have been for a very long time, aren't strong enough to sway us to change the way that we buy things. Right
Yeah,
now,
they're kind of baked into most
now-
negotiations and most
now
contracts.
if you go back a year and a half or 2 years, I'm sure everybody that's sitting on this panel, including myself, was complaining about how expensive groceries were and things like that. Understand the crazy tariffs that are being discussed right now are going to inflate that even more. Now, I'm sure everybody on this panel was quick to point fingers at Joe Biden for the inflation costs and all that. Are you going to point the finger?
Blame you. You broke my record. Yeah, I'm going to blame you. You broke my record. I made it all this show without mentioning his name until now.
Well, it's the truth. It's the truth. And to have a real conversation, we have to speak the truth.
True.
You know what I mean? And like I said, there's tariffs in place right now that are not good, that hurt me, that hurt you, that hurt the average consumer. Those are true facts. It's not one party versus the other. But what we're hearing right now, in my mind, is a very scary thing, because the eggs that used to be 99 cents that are $3 now, they're going to be like $12. You know, and Grumpy made a comment earlier that he really can't do anything about it. And then he said, we can vote for it. Now I'm going to say something that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers here, because it's even a category that I fell into. Understanding Donald Trump's base voters is uneducated males. That's his campaign even admitted it.
Say that
Now-
one more time, Pete. Say that one more time so everybody clearly understands that.
Uneducated males.
Mhm.
That's what his campaign, even back in 2016, was going for, because it's a demographic of voters that don't really vote a lot. And he won that, including me. I don't have a college degree, so I fall in that category of an uneducated male here in the United States.
So you're using that as a demographic explanation, an insult, just so everybody.
Yeah, it's not an insult at all. It's not an insult at all, because I fall under that.
Right.
But that's the demographic that he went after.
Mhm.
Those are the people that won him the 2016 election and this current election.
Right.
We do have the power to not make that happen. We're just uneducated enough to make it actually happen. And now we're left with what is about to come and understanding we did sign up for this because we voted for it.
Well, and then too, tell me if you agree with this, Fate. Let me restate something I stated earlier. Just because we voted him in, and just because we wanted certain things, one of the commenters earlier said that the people, where did he put it? Fernando, can't wait till the people who voted for this feel the consequences. You know, I kind of reacted when I saw that, and then twice as much reacted when Grumpy said what he said earlier, because my thing is this: we can vote people in and we can make certain things a truth in a scenario, but that doesn't mean we have to just accept it. What say you, babe?
You have to accept it when it's what he's ran on. 100%, you have to accept it, and you can't get your.
Can't change it. The point I was making is that don't mean we can't change something about it. Just because we said, okay, Trump's the man or Biden's the man or whatever election you want to take, you know, you still have power to change certain things. It's not a, oh crap, I screwed up, we're done. No, that's the point I was making to Trump earlier.
But what that commenter isn't wrong. Just like he isn't wrong where somebody that's a staunch Republican or a conservative that has different views than me, and the president elect or the president in current office, like I might agree with more than this conservative person. I have to eat the fact that there's things that are being done that I maybe only agree with 0.25%. You know what I mean? But it's because of the way that I vote, not only presidentially, but locally and statewide, that I do have to suffer the consequences of my elected officials. And here's the thing. And I say this with the utmost respect. I am not trying to attack people. I am not trying to do anything to cause more of a rift, because that's what we have in this country. We have a rift.
We have too much of it. Yeah, I agree.
And if we don't speak truths, that rift is only going to grow and the hate is only going to get stronger. Our current administration is chaotic and a mess.
Mm-hmm.
The person coming in has proven that he is only for himself. He's proven that time and time again. He is not for you. He is not for me. He's certainly not for me. I mean, he would probably, he's certainly not for me. But here's the thing I'm trying to get at is you have to acknowledge the bad with the good. Like there are things that are probably going to happen that are going to be very good. You know what I mean? And I need to acknowledge those. Even though I might not support the man, I need to acknowledge the good.
Yes.
You also need to
Everybody
acknowledge
should-
the bad. And you can't
everybody should do that regardless of your stance, whether
you
you're
can't
liberal,
paint it with a brush.
Exactly.
You just can't.
Yeah, exactly. Thumper, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Look, if tariffs cause consumer spending to slow, which if you've been watching the show, you've already heard my opinion. You've now heard Fate. You've also heard, everybody else on this panel. We can all agree if tariffs go into place, spending will slow. People are just not going to, they're not going to put up with it. So that's going to be the first thing they do. What kind of an impact do you think we'll see in terms of volumes on freight and impact on our industry? What do you think?
Everybody's gonna go into a panic, buy everything up, and whatever's in stock, where it's gonna need to be hauled. Nothing new. Been down that road.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it is if tariffs go in effect, it's for us Americans. No offense, poet. Us Americans need to start relying on ourselves instead of relying on other people making stuff. Our everyday stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think we just triggered a conversation between Fate
Probably.
and Thumper. Go ahead, guys. Yeah, you too. Yeah, I'm sorry. Fate, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Thumper, you're 100% right. I agree with you. Here's the problem. You're not going to go spend $300 on something that's made by Grumpy when you can buy it from 6 hours north of where we live for a quarter of the cost. You're just not going to do that.
Well,
and
no,
to say you would is a lie.
Right.
We sold out. Like, that's what we have to understand as Americans here. We sold out. This idea of a
I understand that, but the thing is you got to look at it this way. I understand why he does the tariffs. He wants us to be relying on ourselves, but in all reality, it's not going to happen.
Well, it's not just him. Like, this is not a attack on the incumbent, the president coming in. I am not attacking him because there's tariffs right now and there's been tariffs forever. Like, understanding a tariff is a tax. We don't get any of that. It doesn't benefit us. It benefits the government. That's who it benefits.
Pocket, yeah. That's all they care about is money in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's all any politician going to concern themselves with. Go ahead.
Hey, Thumper. Don't worry about what you said, okay? I take that with a grain of salt. I spent too many years driving around the U.S. What I told Boss Man earlier in private was you guys have no idea how many Western Canadians want to join the USA as the 51st state for exactly what's going on right now.
Well, you guys know, like, Canada's under a big change too. And here's what we have to understand, guys. Like, these are young countries. These aren't countries like you know what? We don't want to get into a trade war. You don't want to threaten these countries. And I'm talking about North America here.
Nothing would gain by it.
That includes
one of these articles that I referenced pointed out that very fact. Trade wars do nothing for either side.
Well,
they really don't.
They don't.
Well, here's the thing. When I talk about North America, I'm talking about Mexico, the United States, and Canada. Now, if you look at those three countries, even Mexico has more exports than we do in the United States.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into a trade war, guys. Like, that's something that we can't win. We just can't, because
and it don't matter what country you talk about. That same philosophy is true all over the world. Whether you're talking about European products, Chinese products, anywhere. trade wars will get you nowhere. They will not hurt the companies or the countries, but they will hurt everybody that lives in those countries.
Yep, the
individuals.
consumer. The consumer.
Yes, they will
Well,
win.
it will hurt countries. I mean, it will hurt
Well,
businesses. That's the
country
whole
will not be-
reason.
Well, a country. What I'm saying is, a country by itself won't be affected the same way an individual like you or me would be.
I happen to
have a lot
disagree with
more-
you.
I think
yeah,
there's a lot more. Yeah. I mean, why? Tell me why. Why do you think it would be? Why do you
Well,
think I'm wrong?
take a country that relies on just like basic needs being imported into it, and there's lots of countries that are like that. If they were to get into a trade war with their supplier of food and rice and beans,
Mhm.
the country starves. The country's economy goes to zero because they have nothing to give to the consumer. Now that's a very weird way of looking at it, I guess, or like a dramatic way of looking at it. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at it I'm very scared of this. I'll just be upfront and honest. Now I've had people tell me, don't be, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I had people a couple of months
Everybody
ago.
should be.
I had people
Everybody should be.
I had people a couple of months ago telling me it was the end times to read the Bible because of if so and so won the presidency, like the world's coming to an end. And I'm more scared today because I know how hard I have to work to have the little bit that I have. What happens if my toilet paper goes up to $8, $9 a roll because we want to make it here in the United States? Well, if I can't afford a $9 roll of toilet paper, what makes me think I can afford a $16 roll of toilet paper that I made on an assembly line here in the United States because I need a livable wage here in the United States? Look at Amazon right now, guys.
The end result of that is one thing: you either bloat because you don't crap enough, or two, you stink because you can't clean yourself. You know.
And I just want to be clear about this for the people that are watching this that might have a problem with what I'm saying. It's because I have when I say I'm a libertarian, man, I believe in free trade. I believe in I believe in moving across countries and continents freely to get the necessary things I need or a country needs to live. That doesn't mean open borders. That does mean that we should be able to move freely.
Yeah, let me balance out this discussion, okay? Faye, you lean a lot on making sure everybody understands your tendencies, liberal or conservative. I don't care. Ed, you know what? I believe in free trade too. Okay, I believe certain things need to happen for people to understandably live and get along with each other. Certain policies need to be overturned. Certain rules of law that do exist today need to be left alone and gotten rid of. And the last thing we need is some government nutball, and I'm not picking on any particular one person, adding to the fire and making more policies that do nothing in the end but hurt more people. So you don't have to be libertarian or conservative to just want what's best for the people you represent. And I think if more politicians felt that way, then a lot less of these discussions would be necessary to make changes. And I think we'd get a lot further on life. I mean, all anybody wants is to live, improve, make tomorrow greater than today. That's all anybody wants. They don't need some heavy-handed, suit and tie telling them, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." Don't care. I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter.
They do that to us anyways.
Well, you're right. They would, and that's just, I felt like it's necessary, and you feel it necessary to tell everybody how you think. You know what? I love it. I respect it. It's what my show's here for. But that doesn't mean we're that different, because I think you lean a lot of times on how different we are, but in reality, we're not. You and me, Fate, we're all the same. Me and Larry are the same. Me and Poet are the same. Every single one of you on this panel are the same in that we all want the same thing. You don't have to be on one side of the aisle or the other to want that or to represent that. So, yeah, we voted him into office. Some of us did. But you know what? All we want at the end of the day is what's right. So if we could do one thing, and this, I think we're gonna lean on this because I always like leaving everything positive. If you could advise policymakers, what would you say about how tariffs are today and should be implemented to avoid disaster? What would you say? Could it be as simple as say, don't do it? Or would you have something else
Hey,
to?
I'm an uneducated white male. I don't have the answer. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny or like rude.
No, you're not.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm not an economist. I don't understand. Whatever we're doing is not working.
Exactly.
Like, it's that simple. Whatever we have done
Yeah.
isn't working. And people are upset and people are mad about it. I would, if I was a politician, I would probably sit down with people that are smarter than me and admit that I don't have the answers. And I would listen to people that have my philosophies in mind and people that don't have my philosophies in mind. And I literally would come to an agreement in the middle of both of them where I live in a country that doesn't force me to think the way other people think. So this idea that we all need to fall under one umbrella, in my mind, isn't right and isn't accurate, because I don't have to conform to anything. And if I was a politician, I would want to hear people that have a different opinion than me and try and come to a bipartisan freaking deal.
Yeah, I agree. Jerry W. Owen, welcome to the show. Thank you for your input. I'm sure that you and Poet have a lot to talk about in regards to Canada. We certainly welcome your input on all things trucking. But having heard such good words from you, Fate, I want to provide some insight from a trucker like myself when it comes to planning your future as it relates to this very discussion we're having. When news like this starts shaking up the industry, the best way to approach business decisions is with a clear head and a view of what happens going down the road, long ways off. Tariffs and economic shifts are like bad weather. Sometimes you can't avoid them, but you can always prepare. So I'm going to give you a few tips, my thoughts on how to deal with this. First, know your numbers. Understand your operating costs right down to the penny. When freight rates fluctuate or costs rise, you need to know what loads to keep and what lanes to drive to keep you profitable and which ones to stay away from. Secondly, diversify where you can. Rely on one type of freight, one lane, or one consumer, and you put yourself in a very vulnerable place. Look at options and have them at the ready should things change. Finally, keep your ear to the ground. Stay informed, stay connected, and don't be afraid to lean on the wisdom of others. Other people like on this panel, Fate, Grumpy, Poet, Larry, Thumper, we've got a lot of experience. I think it was said one time, almost 200 years worth of experience sitting on this panel. We have a lot to say about thinking ahead, remaining proactive, and making sure we make trucking great again. Tap into this network of people and others around you. Remember, trucking isn't about just moving goods. It's about navigating challenges, big and small, and staying sharp. Did you guys say it any better than that or have anything to add?
I think you hit it right on the head.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal. Yeah.
No,
We
it's been a good show.
Oh
As
yeah.
per usual, I learned a bunch.
That wasn't my cue to end it, but all right, whatever.
Whatever. I've
You haven't
just
heard the music
learned.
yet.
Whatever. I've just learned a bunch from Fate. Okay.
Good. That's good.
As
That's what
as
it's all
per
about.
usual. Well, you're here to help. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not. I'm really not here to help. I'm here to. Poet. I appreciate that. I'm not. I'm not. I don't take compliments well. Um. So
Tough.
I
Deal
appreciate
with
that.
it.
Don't you
Deal with it.
know?
Yeah. Right. Don't you know? All
Hey,
right.
you've learned just as much as you've taught. I'll give that to you, Faith. So, Poet
Here's
does
the
speak
thing.
with wisdom on that. You've learned as much as you've taught.
When it comes to life, when it comes to trucking, you know, I wouldn't be the father I am today if I didn't ask for help or advice from people that raised me or people that were important in my life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've made many mistakes as a father. I've made many mistakes as a partner, as a husband. And I've asked for help when I need help in those situations. And I do the same
Mhm.
thing in business. I have very good mentors that lead me to think. You know what I mean? There's a difference between being hence a sheep and actually like taking in information, thinking about it, and applying what you've learned. You know what I
And
mean?
what do you think I do when speaking? I'm learning.
Yep. Everybody does. Everybody's learning every day when
Uh,
we turn the key. Every day when we
yeah.
tune into their show.
Yeah.
So.
And if you don't like the compliment, I would say tough. Deal with it.
There you go, my friends. Look, here's the bottom line. Tariffs, if used judiciously, can be a powerful tool, but truckers don't need power plays. We need stability.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know that our jobs are still intact. We don't need fluctuating freight rates. We don't need fluctuating volumes. We need certainty. So, in every sense, in every way, look carefully to the future. Urge caution. Demand that tariffs serve the long term and not the short term. And if we've got anything to say about it, certainly stand on the side of them not being necessary, not as a blunt instrument and as a precise tool that they want to use it for.
You
At the
bet.
end of the day, it's all about production. It's all about learning. It's all about growth. I am personally of the mindset that tariffs will stunt all of that.
So can I say
Last thing,
something?
go ahead.
I agree with about 90% of what you just said, except I don't want stability. Stability creates complacency. When you get
Uh-huh.
complacency, you tend to you tend to forget what you're working and striving for. You know, like I said earlier, I believe in free trade. I believe in supply and demand. And if that means that rates have to fluctuate and the people that make the right decisions succeed and the people that don't make the right
Yeah.
decisions fail, that's
Yeah.
that's capital. Like that's I want that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there should be a level playing field. When it comes to what you were talking about in this live show, we just got to be ready to accept that things are going to get hard, maybe.
Yeah.
And if we need to depend more on, listen, I'm a guy that wants to depend more on things in this country. I want that. I don't want everything to be a boat away or, you know what I mean? Get onto a plane and have to come here. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, when I use the word stability, I think when I wrote that, because I wrote everything, you know, all of my remarks are written by me. I think when I wrote that, I was thinking
Typical
more
politician.
yeah. No, I was thinking more along the lines of the markets and the volumes of freight. Because right now, even that one article opined on how the spot market has risen. It's now, average 253 where it used to be, which, don't get me wrong, it's a great thing. But as soon as you hit things like unpredictable tariffs or rules or procedures, those always go down. And the stability I was referring to was in every sense that, because that's what that's what a dependable business model benefits from, stability. Now, I don't know how you took that, but everything you said, Fade, I fully agree with. Yeah. So if stability means complacency, no, I don't want that either. I've been complacent before, and you saw where that got me. So I don't advocate that. So Larry, you've been awful quiet, and you're out of screen. You're out of luck, brother. Grumpy, any last words?
Grumpy's gone.
Is he?
Yeah.
For shame, for shame.
Hey, boss
That's what
man.
happens.
Boss man, green room
Quickly,
after.
Poet.
Green room after.
Yeah, you know that, and we'll deal with that as we need to.
Okay.
Guys, it's been a lovely show. I've certainly enjoyed.
Oh, Larry's back.
Yeah, right. Kind of late. I've certainly enjoyed bringing you the best and the brightest. 25 has a lot to come, my friends. Hang tight and rest assured, we're coming to you with a better show, more informed, and better for you in the long run. What say you on that? You looking forward to that, Thumper?
I'm always looking forward to the future. I mean, all you can do is live like it's your last day, enjoy life, and Christmas is just a couple days away. Help one another out, be safe, have fun, Merry Christmas. Just remember, we don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Amen. Well said. I know in the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We do this for all the right reasons. Grab on today, become a subscriber, because 25 is a year you don't want to miss. Subscribe today, like this program, check out Fake Truckin, Grumpy Old Truckers, Larry the Trucker, Thumper, everybody associated with this broadcast. We all want what's best for you guys. A merry and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and look for us to come back to you in 25 with a new and improved show. Remember, trucks, that make the delivery, but it's you that makes the difference. Till next week, do everything you can, keep the faith, keep it real, and keep rolling.